can you briefly explain for us, we're going to be talking about critical race theory being taught in the workplace. Since you're an HR expert, can you briefly explain to us what critical race theory is in the context of what's being taught by HR departments?
Sure. Critical race theory is the movement to make racism acceptable. I see really no other way to call it. Critical race theory at its essence teaches that white people are born oppressors without redemption and that all minorities are oppressed. It teaches that the most important thing about anyone is their skin color, not their character, not the things they do, not the personality, not even the environment that they inhabit, but purely telling you that your worth and everything you are is measured in the color of your skin. It's very vile, curse of the day it was created.
So can you give us some examples of what that training would look like?
Sure. I've seen some actually where someone would come in and one of the first things they will do is say that because you're a white, you are an oppressor. And that the only reason why someone is promoted inside of your company, for example, is because of this thing called intersectionality, which means that you were given this break to be promoted because your being promoted somehow benefited me as a white person. That's just one example. Something else that they would do is that they will teach you that because of your race that you are oppressed and that you cannot be promoted in the company. When you're not promoted in the company, it's because of your race. If you are promoted in your company, it's because of your race. If you are not if you are the CEO of a company and people inside of your company are not promoted at a certain rate, it's because then you are oppressing them. Things along that wise, actually.
That's very interesting. And there are a couple cases in the news recently, the most recent one at Boeing. And I wonder if you could speak to that in the context of this. So at Boeing, the CEO announced in a statement that between June 2020 and April 21st, 2021, the company terminated 65 employees and took corrective action against 53 employees for engaging in or being part of racist, discriminatory, or otherwise hateful conduct. It seems like this might be part of the same culture that this critical race theory training is creating. Can you speak to this?
Sure. When I saw that, I was a bit cynical. I've seen how a lot of companies do what I call virtue signaling. They'll say, look at this wonderful thing I'm doing over here with my left hand, so you don't see what I'm doing over here in my right hand. In the case of Boeing, it may be, look at how we are addressing issues of systemic racism in the left hand. On the right hand, don't look at this deal we've done with the Communist Chinese Party and selling them so many planes and building an airport or something over here. The same type of behavior I've noticed also in other multinational companies, such as Nike, for example, where they'll say, look, we've given $40 million to Black Lives Matter and causes like it. But on the other hand, don't look at what we're doing over here, where we are oppressing Muslim Uyghurs in China and who are producing our Nike tennis shoes through slave labor. Same thing could be said for Apple, which is doing the same thing. Companies like that, Apple, Amazon, and other companies like that, they are actively working against legislation that will block the incoming of products made with slave labor. So when I see companies saying, look at all these wonderful things we're doing over here, my first thought is that it's just a deflection from other things that they don't want you to look at and a way to make themselves feel good.
Yeah, it's a good point. There was also Major League Baseball pulled out of Georgia because it says that the voter reform laws that were passed are voter suppression. Meanwhile, they just signed a deal with China also. So it's a good point. If you're going to be doing these things, be consistent about them at least so we can take it seriously. I mean, we have no idea in the Boeing case what the transgressions were of these employees. No one's come out to my knowledge yet. So it's hard to judge what they did, but certainly there may be some hypocrisy there, as you point out.
That's true, and it makes it easier to signal their virtue when you don't know the specifics of different things.
So, exactly, good point. So let me ask you, when critical race theory in your experience is introduced to these companies, they have this training, what is the impact on the culture of the workplace?
Increased bullying, traumatic anxiety. So imagine that you're working in a space, and the day before the training, everything was fine. You work with your coworkers, you had good friendships, good team building exercises, everything is fine. After the training, you're looking at your coworkers in a different way. You're wondering, okay, I thought you were my friend, but because of this training, I now believe that you're oppressing me. So I don't really know if we're really friends. I don't really know if we're really working together. I don't know if the reason why you refused me taking on some project is because my idea wasn't valid or because you're racist.
Be sure to watch the entire episode now exclusively at EpochTV.com, a new completely censorship-free premium subscription platform brought to you by the Epoch Times. See you there.